I've always wondered how it would feel to lay between earth and grass. So I wanted to create a third skin that can be grown, something that is alive and that one can develop a relationship with. To create the growing garment, there was a huge exploration. Lo que hago acá es abrir la fibra, preparando una cama para las semillas que vienen luego. Lo ideal es que no sea tanta agua para que... I started with researching different type of seeds and made different germination tests, while I developed an experimental craft technique to create the seeds yarn. Later I designed custom looms for weaving and customized a DIY open source spinning machine. I called this project Be Grounded.
¿Ves todo lo que hay de raíces?
I was inspired by the earthing theory, which has to do with getting closer to nature and all its healing benefits. So I thought this biotechnologic garment has potential healing properties where users would be able to deal with common health issues such as stress or anxiety, but through the garments. So it's weird, yeah, but weird is nice. And as we continue exploring, we get to know that it's a win-win. If we live in a symbiotic system, taking care of other organisms and natural resources as we care for us,
I can show you a little bit this world of biomaterials. So this is the latest biomaterial that we made. You can consider it like a biodegradable leather. It's made from alginate, which is algae from the sea, combined with wool from the ship of Iceland, because I went on a trip and I came back with a bag of wool. The reason why I combine this is because I have been making many iterations on developing the material recipe. So this was the alginate simple recipe. This is what happens, no? You can tear it apart. But with the fibers, I can show you. This one, it has fibers and alginate, and it is fiber reinforced, so it cannot be, it's like leather. And you would treat it as leather, no? You wouldn't wash it, and when you put it on your skin, it will take the heat of your skin, and then you would also like kind of wax it every now and then, no? This is kind of like our latest material, so I am very fond of it at the moment. It's my best material, no? So I will show you my recipes now, which are open source, and they are like powered by also all the people here that they work and they research. So as part of their research, they have to contribute to this material library. For example, here you have bioplastic, gelatin-based with acrylic paint, and you can have the recipe, how to make it. So we have gelatin-based, we have potato starch, we have alginate with spirulina and mica. This one, for example, is with clay. So biopolymer is the binder, which is gelatin. The plasticizer is what gives the flexibility. Then the additive, we have like clay, we can have food waste. This is mate tea. This one is chocolate. This is kind of edible. We had a student that she wanted to make edible clothes. In this case, you have something like this, very rigid. So this is like a coffee cup made from coffee grains.
And it won't dissolve with coffee.
And it won't dissolve with coffee. Because in this case, we use pine resin. So this one is like an edible yucca peel cup.
What's it made of?
Yucca. It's like a sweet potato. So you make a mix with your waste and you bake with, actually it's with water and a little bit of the binder. And then you can actually eat it as like a toast. These ones are the new ones. This is avocado pits with tapioca starch. It's super light and rigid because we want to make insulation, like acoustic panel. Yeah, I don't know if it will be edible though. So we have all of the waste. We have like fish skin. You go to the fish market, you ask for the fish skin, and then you can make the procedure with glycerin and alcohol so that you can actually create fish skin. We have banana peels, we have this from orange peels. It's cotton leather. We have any kind of waste, like orange. So this one is from coffee, and it is a coffee leather. It's amazing. It's super nice. This is orange. And they even smell nice. They have like very nice touch. And this one, for example, is a little bag from coffee.
And again, it's resistant to, you could use it and it wouldn't fall apart. And
It's coffee leather.
The binder on this, did you
The
say?
binder is alginate. This one is with alginate, with glycerin to make it more elastic. It is a recipe based on molecular gastronomy. You know this spherification? We are using it from the cooking industry, but for other reason. The students, as part of their research, they have to contribute to this material library. It's kind of like a mad scientist, huh? These are not final products, but there are possible like opportunities for people that they want to change the way things work.
Sí, ¿crees que
Más gelatin, más glycerin. You need to have more glycerin. But cut it like here, and then we can laser cut it.
Look, it's ready the biomaterials.
Today we finished the biodidas.
The biodidas, va bien. Este está con glicerina y con jabón. Este es para la suela, para el middle sole de un sneaker, y este es el outsole de un sneaker. Y vemos que es un biomaterial, es un bioplastic, pero no le entra la uña, ¿no? Es un material bastante resistente y flexible. Este es glicerina con gelatina, con carbono activado y mica, que es lo que le da la tonalidad. Y vemos la flexibilidad, ¿no? Es un material extremadamente flexible y muy duro para el calzado. Entonces aquí tenemos un inner sole, o sea, un outsole, el insole, en una sola three-layer cap, o sea, es una estructura de 3 capas. Entonces vemos también cómo funciona la memoria.
Entonces, ¿has hecho esto aquí o lo has comprado?
Esto lo he desarrollado acá. Yo soy diseñador industrial especializado en accesorios de lujo, en calzado. Este de acá es otro producto. Mi objetivo con este zapato era la reutilización de los desperdicios de las industrias de lujo de cuero. Mi visión ahora es poder desarrollar un lujo desde los biomaterials. Este es el Sam Smith, es un clásico de Adidas, pero reinterpretado con los cristales. Estos cristales es un proceso de growing crystals a través de alum. Sí, es la sobresaturación de alum. Aquí tenemos una pecera y sobre esta pecera lo que trabajo son los cristales. Aquí vemos, todos estos son cristales de alum, este es un cristal de fósforo. Entonces, básicamente sumerjo el sneaker en la superficie, en la pecera. se coloca la solución saturada y después de apenas 2-3 horas empieza ya a crecer los cristales. Y es eso lo mágico de los biomaterials, de growing materials. No porque es natural se tiene que ver rústico, al contrario, creo que el tener la capacidad de controlar un material nos permite darle el tiempo y experimentar y explorar las estéticas, las nuevas estéticas que nos generan los materiales naturales. Aquí he probado sobre plástico, es un plástico termoformado, luego lo corto y es una superficie de tul para que tenga mejor adhesión. Y de un día al día siguiente tenemos cristales en el zapato. Aquí podemos ver, son cristales naturales. Es interesantísimo.
Es un poco como Cinderella, ¿no?
Sí, es wow. Y ahora te voy a mostrar un producto que estoy desarrollando. Es un zero waste, es un calzado. Y lo he desarrollado en una sola pieza de cuero a través de un proceso de termodeformado, de vacuum infusion.
Like zero waste, no hay...
Zero waste, es una pieza de cuero estampada, incluida la suela, y luego la suela irá vaciada con bioplastic.
This is one of my favorite techniques. It's kind of like a medieval technique. They used to do harnesses and armors, the ancient Egyptians and Greeks. From the ancient, and then it was more in the medieval age, like 1600s, and then due to mass production, they stopped. So I'm kind of like trying to bring it back through digital fabrication, where you can bring new aesthetics and you can have like all of these molds that you can use. Now we are going to go to our invented biolab. So we occupied this elevator because we wanted to have a biolab. So here we have some kombucha growing. So this is kind of the laboratory where we work with living organisms. So here you have the green tea with the sugar and the vinegar. Mm-hmm. Then you put the SCOBY, the mother bacteria, and then it starts like colonizing and growing, feeding from the sugar. It makes the cellulose. So this one we will leave it here for 1.5 months. And then once it is like 1 centimeter thick, we will wash it very well with soap, and then we will dry it in the sun like leather. So it takes a while to grow things in general. So it's kind of precious, no? And here is the mushroom cultivation. We are doing different experiments to see what the mushroom eats. So this is oyster mushroom with hemp nut. Here we have reishi mushroom with hemp nut, which is more like dense. And this is like coffee grains with oyster mushrooms. The mushroom is colonizing and eating the coffee and the straw, and it will make a brick in the end.
And why are you working with mushrooms?
Mushroom is the future. Because it's an amazing material. I mean, mycelium is the network of nature, so it is the best material to work with, but it's difficult.
Would this be material for clothing?
These ones are more like for construction and architecture. The ones that they are for clothing, they would be like mushroom leather, which are like growing a thin film on the top layer without any three-dimensionality, because when you want to do fashion, you want to do sheets, flat sheets, no?
But you really have to be kind of a polymath. I mean, you have to know a lot of different, it's construction and fashion and gastronomy. Oh, there's a lot of crossover, right?
You need to spend time, trial and error, talk with people, and just focus. We say, okay, this year we focus on mushroom. And we try until we make it. No? And last year we focused on alginate. So we try, and then it happens. So it's a kind of trial and error situation. And then here we have the bacterial dyes. My students, they did this yesterday. And we work with coloring bacteria, chromobacteria. You can either extract the pigment or you can directly inoculate on fabrics. In this case, we would be harvesting only the pigment, so then you can actually paint the whole fabric. These ones, as you can see, is from my students that they did yesterday, and it has already started growing. So this will colonize the fabric, and in this case, we are kind of doing like a tie-dyeing technique or a shibori technique, Japanese, of like folding.
How are you able to control what is basically a living entity?
So in this case, the bacteria, it is on the agar medium. Agar is the nutrient agar, the food for the bacteria to grow. In this case, the food is in a liquid state in this case because you can impregnate the textile with a liquid food.
What are pigment bacteria? What does that mean?
Yeah, bacterial dyes. But people, when they hear bacteria, they are like, no! But we can call it living organism. It sounds like safer. These are bacteria biosafety level 1, so they are harmless. Because we want to democratize like science, no?
Chromobacteria, is that something that an average consumer would know about?
It's something that
We don't have in our kitchen.
you have in your kitchen. Actually, the ones that they give you more color are the ones that they are red. They are Serratia mercantans, which is the typical, like, if you have like any kind of contamination in your kitchen or in a hospital with the red dots, this is color bacteria. But this is not biosafety level 1. It is more harmful, so we don't work with that. This is our dryer. This is my green tea, and these are the oranges. So I'm drying these. Before drying them, I have a little bit boiled them with baking soda so that they kill the bacteria.
Sterile.
Yeah, I'm drying them now, and then I will trim them and shred them, and then I will make the powder so that we have like all of this box of waste, and then we can make the different biomaterials. So this is like coffee waste, this is green tea waste. First we have to dry them, then we shred them, sift them, and then after we can use them in the mixtures that we make. So here, Agnes, my student, she's working in the theater making costumes.
It's for a mask. I'm using cabbage for the color.
So cabbage actually is the one that will give you all the colors. It is very pH sensitive, and you can have all the different like gamma, the color spectrum.
This is only ashes. Less ashes, more ashes. Just to see how transparent, how change the transparency.
And this is with the vinegar.
Yeah, vinegar, cabbage, ashes.
Yeah.
But also because it got another color, and when I added the ashes, it changed. Just the moment we add the ashes, change the color.
Yeah.
What's this project?
So this one is the one that we are making with the fibers and the alginate for this fashion designer.
So I'm just separating the fibers, and then I create sort of like a crosshatch layers.
I can put them there.
And then we place on a big frame, we pour the alginate, and then we like tap it down so that it's nice and smooth, and then we let it dry.
We have kind of invented the technique, and we like it.
It's actually a wool for felting. We were using like real wool, but I was having to brush through it, and that was quite a tedious process. So having this felting wool has made our lives much easier.
Also, the designer wanted this.
You're working with an established designer.
Well, she's an upcoming designer, and she wants to work only with biomaterials. But we also show to her how to make the materials. For us, it's important that she by herself learns how to make them.
They don't teach you this kind of stuff at school, you know, so like a lot of this thing is like cooking, you know, so if you get experimental with cooking, it's kind of the same.
Well, so this mix is black because it has the activated charcoal. So activated charcoal is used for filtering our water and filtering pollution. Okay. So supposedly this could be like a garment that is absorbing the CO2. Of course, we didn't test if this thing actually is filtering or not. So we need to make the tests. I mean, there are also many questions about the biomaterials because you should be able to choose a material for textile industry, for example, that doesn't affect the food industry. Because we want land to eat. We don't want land to make leather. So you should try to use feedstocks or waste or plants that they are not used in the food industry. Good. So we do the opposite of the textile industry. We put the hair back. But yeah, there is no substitute for leather at the moment. We can do it like that. Yeah, of course, if you want to make this technique more reproducible, you will need to have like this machine that actually does this thing that I'm doing now. So now this is very scientific. You can see it's like massaging the material.
So making leather.
Bio-leather.
Leather.
But the thing is that if you want to make something that it will actually be able to have a bigger impact, it should be compatible with an existing industry. So when we talk about the textile industry, we would be talking about making thread. So bio-based fiber, yes. Because it can go then to the knitting machine and the sewing machine and the weaving machine. So now we are applying calcium chloride. Calcium chloride is the thing that actually solidifies the alginate, makes a chemical reaction. Yes, so now it is leather, it is waterproof. It has created the surface, the little membrane, calcified the alginate, and that's it. You see? Now it needs to dry.
So it doesn't get in your skin anymore?
No, it doesn't get in my skin, and it has made this like encapsulated the membrane. Now we will let it dry. It will lose its mass. It will lose the excess of water, and then it will be ready. Of course, we can, here in the Fab Lab, we can, if we really want to push forward this project, we can make the machines to automate this process. So we can make a pourer and the leveler, and we can make all of this, and a sprayer. But first we need to do like some, if we want to scale up that, we need to do some material tests, no? To see like what are the properties and be able to compare it with something that is already existing. It's difficult to bring new products in the market. So what we would call a subtractive manufacturing is what the industry has known for more than 200 years, because this one starts from a full block of material, and then you excavate, you sculpt, and you take out the material, reaching to have a mold that is your 3D model. This is subtractive manufacturing.
Therefore, you have waste.
Yes, you have waste. What is additive manufacturing is the 3D printing, what came and revolutionized kind of like the way we make things. This one, we are making a test because we are calibrating the 3D printer. So we are making like the simple cube. When you have the opportunity to compute material performance through the 3D modeling, then you can put in the material the inherent properties that you want it to have. You can also do this by geometry, you know? So you can design in the 3D model the material behavior. This one, it is designed to be stretched in one direction because of the geometry, but not in the other direction. So this is how you 3D model behavior. So this is like a printed chain, so simple. So you design it so that there are the joints already.
What's the material there?
PLA, polylactic acid, typical FDM material. The PLA plastic polylactic acid is based in cornstarch, but I don't suggest that anybody can make whatever because this needs mechanical recycling. It's not compostable. So we actually have a trimmer here that we can recycle this and then extrude again so that you can have the closed loop. But not everybody can have this machine to make pellets, no, and then extrude it again. I like 3D printing applied on textiles, and I think it's kind of like the future. It is tackling a little bit the subject of print on demand, so you don't need to have like a lot of stock, and also the customization, that you don't need to print like any copies.
Super cool.
The trick here is how you can use already made infrastructures, changing all the material. So how can we use the plastic industry that is now extruding with petroleum to use other kind of feedstocks? If we can do that, then it's a success. Because if we need to make a whole new industry, then it's a bigger investment, no? Yesterday, I made this bioplastic because I want to make a lamp. So you have gelatin, you have a little bit of glycerin so that it's not so elastic. Then you have some hibiscus flowers, and then you have some mica powder. And let's see if we can. I'm not quite convinced that the future will be with this kind of plastics, but I think that putting the knowledge and the mindset and the mentality for others to create their own materials, it is also helpful when they go to the industry and they can actually ask for mixtures that they want because they know that they can make them as they want. So don't take anything for granted. Now I would like to show you how it comes out from the other side. But what I see here is that it's still very liquid and I cannot peel it off correctly. Because if it is not liquid, then you can just peel it off very easily. So now it needs to dry more. We will leave it here for 2 days in an angle so that the excess of water, it falls down and it will dry faster. This one is from my student Catherine's. We grow this kombucha leather. And then she was designing the laser cut it, like drying it. So actually the students in the Textile Academy, they also try to design these little new industries, no? The micro factories that they can actually produce mushroom leather or kombucha leather. Bioplastic industry is not something new. It's something that comes before the petroleum-based industry. It was before having petroleum-based plastics. We were using actually casein-based plastics, which are milk-based plastic. And due to the fact that we are in an economy of petroleum, you have all of this facilitation for the industry to be able to produce massively in excess. I think that we are heading towards another kind of industries. I always believe that art, the artistic creation, is the vehicle for technological advances.
¿Y el tuyo?
¿El mío? Este. No, este más.